that song. Kevin, what can you tell me about that song you recorded
That
called
song,
Home Depot Run?
that song encapsulates my weekends. I wrote it on a weekend. I go to Home Depot often on the weekends, and this is not a promotion for Home Depot. It's just that's where I go because it's close.
They should
There
give
are
us money.
Yeah. There are times I prefer going to Lowe's. There's definitely times I prefer going to Ace, but routinely I end up at Home Depot.
When you go to Home Depot, are you there multiple times a day? Like you go, you come back, and you're like, oh, I got to go back.
It usually depends on the project that I'm working on that made me go there the first time, or in the first place. And so the short answer to your question is yes, I'm there multiple times on the weekends.
I think they do that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome to episode 2 of Shmo. I'm Dusty. That's my buddy Kevin over there. And did you write Home Depot Run on that guitar that's there behind your right ear?
It is the one that's hanging out behind me right
The
now.
heaviest guitar in the world?
It is pretty heavy.
Tell us about that guitar.
Oh gosh, so that guitar. So I am 40 right now. I got that guitar when I was in high school. I was jamming with a band using somebody else's guitar because that's what you do when you're in high school. I was jamming in a band. They wanted to play a show. The person I was borrowing the guitar for said, no, you can't use my guitar for a show. So I went to a music store in town. It was back in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. It was called Catalano's Music. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. But I rented that guitar for the show. I think it cost me like $25 or $30 to rent it for the night, plus some kind of deposit that I would have gotten back. But the next day after the show, and by show, I'm really being tongue in cheek. It might have been a school dance or something like that. But the next day I said, how much would it cost if I were to just keep this? And I think I ended up doing it in installments every couple of weeks when I got paid until it finally was paid up. Well, layaway, but I kept it. Small town. The owner of the music store knew most of the guys that I was playing in the band with. He knew how to reach me. He knew how to get a hold of me.
Knew where you parked your car.
He knew where I parked my car. Well, I didn't have a car. He knew where my buddy parked his car. So that was even more motivation for me not to have my buddy's tires slashed.
So in episode 2, we both have our cheaters on. I don't remember if we had them on in episode 1, but I feel very Flash Gordon here with the object visualized in our control room. Now entering the Imperial Vortex. I want our viewers to know that this man built his own bar in his house.
I did.
And yeah, and that's pretty much my favorite bar. What are we calling it? Schmo's?
It is Schmo's.
Schmo's. So when does Schmo's reopen?
Well, waiting for the good governor to open the state up, and that bar will be open for business.
Very nice. But with all the disappointing news that's going around, I thought today maybe we could focus on some bright spots. Because we hear endless barrage of disappointing news. For example, Phoenix Film Fest.
Phoenix Film Festival.
That was canceled, and that would have been this month. And I had a feature short film that was going to be in there, and that didn't happen. So I thought maybe we could talk about some bright spots, because there are some bright spots. Yes? Nod yes.
What? I'm not sure did you say there's some bright spots going on right now? Oh, okay. Yes, there certainly are. There certainly are.
Well, I've taken the time to go through my Apple Music playlist. I have a playlist called One. And the reason I called it One is because I can just say, hey Siri, shuffle playlist 1. And there she goes. Sorry. it shuffles, but this is a great way. So if I have new music that I haven't had time to listen to, or maybe old favorites, or I'll throw it into playlist one and then sort of cull it down. And this is how I kind of curate my new music and find some favorites. So that has been a real bright spot, especially doing yard work and 103 degrees. Found some old Rolling Stones, found some
Nice.
newer bands, the first album from the Darling Buds. Lots of, I've found a lot, and actually taking the time to listen to things all the way through. So we'll put a copy of the link in the show notes.
That's awesome. Awesome. And how are you finding these songs? What is your method for music mining?
It's pretty organic. Now I get a lot of my recommendations through Twitter. So last week being Record Store Day, and following a lot of the vinyl junkies and the record store owners, they all have favorites that I can kind of comb through. But how about you? Any bright spots for you?
Bright spots. Had some opportunity to watch some TV that maybe I normally wouldn't have gone for.
Like what?
We just got done watching a short series, an 8-episode series called The Dublin Murders, that was very interesting. I wouldn't say it was a favorite series, but definitely worth a view. Very kind of twisted and twists and turns and surprises. So that was interesting. That was on Netflix, The Dublin Murders, and we just started watching the Last Kingdom, which it's not quite Game of Thrones, but it's interesting. It's fun, but it's that kind of
genre,
medieval time. Yeah, I think another bright spot that I was certainly taking for granted, that somebody that I talked to at work brought it to my attention, is we are getting some epic family time, uninterrupted, some other word, just great family time that I think once things have been lifted and we're able to get onto somewhat of a more normal world, many of us may look back and say, wow, did I take the best advantage of that as I could have? Because we're all crowded in the house together. There's nowhere to go. So.
Nice. Speaking of crowded house, another bright spot for me has been Neil Finn is playing music online. I think he's using Instagram, maybe YouTube. I'll try to find a link. But he played David Bowie's Heroes.
One of my favorite songs.
Yes, I know that. And he played some Prince, and he's just producing it himself. It's just him playing. He's super schmo about it. So
That's awesome.
And for those that don't know, Shmo means whatever you want it to mean.
A little higher. There you go. There it is. Shmo. See, Shmo can mean whatever you want it to mean. Hey, grab that Shmo over there for me. I need it.
Anyway, the Neil Finn bedroom concerts, those have been cool. They're not even concerts. He's just picking songs and playing, and he just releases one at a time. It's super bright spot for me.
I can honestly say I think his rendition of Heroes is probably my favorite. I like it more than the Wallflowers,
So these waters could be dangerous, but do we want to tread into Star Wars waters at all? I know the online community's quite divided these days on Star Wars, but I'm still mostly a fan.
I'm definitely still. I love the world. I love the world. I'm very comfortable watching stuff in that world. I think we could do favorite Obi-Wan Kenobi-isms.
Oh yeah, you start.
Um, well, I think the low-hanging fruit is from a certain point of view. So you can make anything that you've said mean whatever you want it to retroactively if you say, well, from a certain point of view, I was correct.
You can just tag that on there.
You can.
Ewan McGregor's a beast, and loved him in Train Spotting, loved him in Star Wars, but I wasn't, you know this, I was not crazy about the prequels, and I cannot go back and watch them.
They're tough. They're tough. I can watch the first half of Attack of the Clones, but as soon as we start talking about grains of sand, I'm done. And I can watch.
You're doing Clone Wars, right? Walk us through that, because I'm not doing that.
Oh gosh, Clone Wars. Anybody who's not, if you're just saying you're not going to because it's a cartoon, that's the stupidest thing you can say.
Yeah, missing out.
You're definitely missing out. It's connecting dots. It's bringing to life some stories that you kind of heard a little bit about. Right now, most recently, they are really connecting it right to the point where so they just talked about how they can't help this one situation, the Siege of Mandalore. The Jedi can't help because we just got the Chancellor back. I'm also a very big fan of Ahsoka Tano. I know some people might poo-poo me for that, but I like that. I like her character.
If you're gonna poo-poo us, do it in the comment section.
That's right. Please do. Please comment, because that means you watched our video. So thank you. I'm a big fan of Ahsoka Tano, and I like her story expanded for sure.
So Clone Wars has been a bright spot for you.
Yes. Yeah. Every Friday morning I get a new episode until probably for another couple weeks.
I follow a lot of the Star Wars toy enthusiasts on Twitter, and they post great content. Most of my Star Wars toys were lost in battle.
Yes.
Are MIA, but to go back and see a lot of the collection they have in pristine collection, a lot of them with the boxes, and I appreciate that. It's really cool to see. I'll put some of my favorites in the notes as well, but those collectors are really cool, and they showcase some really cool things. My favorite still being, I remember when I got the Millennium Falcon, it was like $49. I mean, that was just crazy money for a toy back then, but it was so cool. The Millennium Falcon was so cool as a toy.
It was
probably
the holy grail of Star Wars toys in the early 80s.
See,
I like the Gonk droid. I think either myself or my brother had one.
I still have mine, I think.
I remember I had a Hammerhead, and then I had Hoth Luke in his brown outfit.
I have Hoth Han Solo.
The blue.
Another bright spot, and this is a little bit contrived, but last week we had missed Record Store Day, and we were lamenting. So along with the other movies we watched, I watched Josie and the Pussycats with my family, and the soundtrack rocks. And then I wanted to close the loop on, I had mentioned Borderline Records in Dublin, and it's got the address. They're closed now, but this was my purchase there in 2002, and I bought the Walk-On CD5.
Nice.
Do they call it CD5 anymore? CD single?
CD single. What does the 5 represent in CD5?
5 inches.
Okay. So Josie and the Pussycats. I watched it this week. I felt bad for Tara Reid in that movie. They did not. I mean, not going to say she's one of the greatest actors of our generation or anything, but man, they really did not give her a great script at all, did they? But she held her own, I suppose.
No. No, she didn't have a role like she did in Sharknado for sure.
Definitely not a Sharknado role or an American Pie role. American Pie.
Those watching International Movie Databases, Kevin's best friend.
Yes. Oh yeah, American Pie was 99, so Josie and the Pussycats was 2001, so it was 2 years after American Pie. The soundtrack is a lot of fun, and it's really a Letters to Cleo soundtrack. Is that right? Is the singer from?
Yes. Were you a Letters to Cleo fan?
Not one I was really super popular.
What?
Yeah, I know.
I'm so surprised. So the thing that sealed Letters to Cleo for me, I was a little on the fence, and then they played, if anybody remembers, the Jon Stewart show.
I do.
They were the musical guest. He had cool musical guests. He had Helmet.
Yep.
And
I remember that episode.
Yeah, he had Letters to Cleo, and I thought, oh, I'm in.
I want to find. I may go to the store and just find a new beer. I just want to try a beer. So, if anybody has any recommendations, please put them in the comment list. A new beer for Kevin to try.
That's a good idea.
I like that.
What kind of beers do you enjoy?
Anything that's not an IPA. I can go with pretty much anything but IPAs. Just not a fan.
Yeah, same. My wife loves the IPAs, so I never steal from her beer stash because it's always IPAs.
I wonder if that's done by design.
Could get probably. All right, are you ready for the brightest of the bright spots?
Yes. What's the brightest of the bright spot?
And then you stop by, trying to act like you were destined neighborhood. What'll I do? What'll I do? What'll I do about you, about you? What'll I do? What'll I do? What'll I do about you, about you, about you?
It's perfect. So the brightest spot in my universe was that I discovered the perfect song by this band called Nobody's Girl. It's absolutely perfect.
How did you find it? Where did the recommendation come from?
It was in my darn one playlist. So, like I said, I throw a lot of music in that playlist, and it must have come from like a South by Southwest sampler playlist.
Okay.
But that single is from 2018. I guess they're out of Austin. But it's like 3 minutes and 35 seconds of overproduced Texarkana power country pop perfection. They have so many harmonies, and they hit them all. It's oversung. It's just...
It is rock and roll.
It's just so good. I've had it on repeat. My family never wants to hear it again. That would be the perfect 7-inch single, and they don't have one. I checked Discogs. I've checked all my favorite record store links, and does not exist. So if Nobody's Girl is listening to this little podcast and they want to put out a 7-inch single, I'd pay $20 for it for sure.
Yes. And please put something in the comments and tell us who you are so we can say, hi, thanks for listening. I guess I do have a couple of bright spots that I want to share.
Here we go.
Yesterday, on recommendation from a person I work with, I finally watched the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And it's hysterical. I I don't remember the last time I had just guttural belly laughs at a movie, and the feeling of like, oh my gosh, this family would be so embarrassing, and just that it was a whole lot of fun to watch. Lots of delight.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So we have like, I think we got 65 views in our first week. Of course, we want to double that in the second week. But if anybody has comments about lists they need from us, we could do top 5 lists. We could, I don't think we want to start reviewing episodes yet since we only have one.
Right.
But we could do bright spots. We could do bands. We could do band names. We could do concerts. We could do movies.
Let us know what you'd like to hear. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. Because we'll talk about anything. We're schmoes.
We ordered a case of wine and it was delivered, so that was a bright spot this week.
Have you sampled any yet?
Yes, the Pinot
they
Grigio is tasty. Yes.
Okay.
So we'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Yes, and it's the same one we've subscribed to. And what I like about it is you can tell them which ones you liked, which ones you didn't, and then they will put together for your next bundle, send you next 12 bottles or so. They'll take that feedback and try to really zero in on your favorite wines and wines that you'll really enjoy. I don't know.
With that, we'll close it out, and we appreciate any, if you could give us a thumbs up. Just get my thumb on camera. If we could get a thumbs up, like us, subscribe, share with your friends, tell someone else, and feel free to leave a comment.
Hit the bell icon so that you'll know when we post another video, wherever it might be on the screen here somewhere.
Turn on your notifications, and
Yes.
We'll see you again next time right here at Shmo.
Shmo.